Welcome back, everyone, to the Overwatch Atlantic Showdown. We have right now our match between our two winning teams in Group A. To my right, we have Fnatic. Give it up, folks, but I know you're saving it a little bit because we have an Overwatch crowd favorite right here. It's Team EnVyUs. All right, that's what I like to hear. If you're ready to go, then I'm going to hand it over to our talented analysts.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Now, the next game of EnVyUs, they looked very, very strong in the first one. Do you think they can repeat that against Fnatic?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Simple as that. Let's wrap it up.
Actually, see, I don't necessarily agree with that 100%. I think EnVyUs probably is the favorite to this one, but I think Buds had such a damn good game against Misfits. It was insane. Like his position alone on Dorado won him that map, won him that series.
Although it was a slow start for him, in my opinion.
True.
I think Buds started that series off slowly, and I think this immensely benefits EnVyUs. They're sat in the same spot they were just before for the last game.
True.
They're already warmed up. They're ready to go. So it's like, do they even need that advantage? Maybe not. But obviously, you know, Fnatic were tested a lot more than them in the first game. They've had some time to at least decompress a bit. But EnVyUs are warmed up and ready to go.
I agree. Generally, that, yes, Fnatic, they were cleaner. And I think for the team that they are, they played very well. EnVyUs, for the team that they are, did not play well. But it's still EnVyUs and Fnatic, and these teams are two teams that played a lot together. They're both technically NA, even though they're kind of EU a little bit. But all together, yeah, I think EnVyUs, they've just had such a strong track record, you know, over the last few months against them. It's EnVyUs all the way.
So looking at the individual players, individual performers in each team, who are we looking out for in the upcoming match?
I mean, it's got to be IDDQD and Taimu, right?
Absolutely.
It's got to be the two McCree players going head-to-head. I don't know who I necessarily favor in that one. Like, Taimu has the most insane flicks, but I still feel like IDDQD's tracking and his left flicks are just insane.
Talking about that. I love that.
It's a thing of beauty to see two McCrees like going head-to-head, because it's not just who can hit the shots, but who's got the positioning, who plays around their team appropriately.
Yeah, as a McCree main personally as well, this stuff gets me excited because Taimu makes small corrections every shot he takes. So he doesn't even actually aim at the player sometimes. He might aim off to a center point on the screen and flick every single time, always. And he did a tutorial where he's doing like 180-degree flicks and still hitting the target. Whereas IDDQD is far less, I guess, erratic with his mouse movements, but very much keeping his mouse over it. So if you watch his videos as well, you just see the gun going crazy as well, and you think, oh, how's he landing these shots? Because it's quite fast, but he just manages to position himself in a good spot where he doesn't have to flick. He doesn't have to, you know, do a 720 no-scope or anything like that on a mouse pad. He just knows exactly where to have his crosshair position. So it's two very different styles, two very, very good players. And, I mean, this is kind of the quintessential McCree matchup, I really think.
I think, actually, Stoop was the one that mainly carried Fnatic in that first match. So I think he's going to be the player to watch out for. The problem is, against any other team, he would do a great job, but Coco is also a great Reinhardt. So I think they're going to come out kind of even. And then it's just EnVyUs. They have so many more weapons. We're talking about Taimu. I mean, their whole team is a weapon. They're just amazing players. And I think Fnatic, they have 3 or 4 really good players, but I mean, they just don't have 6 great players where EnVyUs do.
That is true. EnVyUs had quite a run in the qualifier as well. So let's take a look at how they got here.
The current reigning kings of the Overwatch scene have definitely showed no signs of slowing down at all. In fact, since moving most of the team to America, Tailspin has had limited difficulty continuing to mold this lineup into champions. Taimu has a very peculiar style, but impeccable aim, and this generally helps him win almost any duel. And of course, with the backup of Coco and Chips high and behind him, he's definitely a force to be reckoned with. And then there's the German powerhouse Infinite Hulk, who generally likes to spend most of his time in the enemy backlines, decimating them along with Harry Hook.
That's one of the big healers going removed. There's going to be Tailspin coming in once again. Coco gets himself the kill. He gets forced down. Nicholas doing what he can.
This keeps the opponents constantly under pressure if you're playing against EnVyUs. EnVy qualified for Gamescom without losing a map, and many people justifiably think that this will continue throughout the tournament. I mean, they're definitely outright favourites here.
Well, thank you so much, Mitch. Mitch, anything you want to add to what you just said?
I'd like to say that that guy was very good looking, and I'd like his number if he's around the place.
I think we can analyze that here in the panel. That's...
No, look, honestly, like, to back that up, there's not much to say, really. If you think about it, I really just waffled over the one concept in the whole video, let's be honest. That EnVyUs didn't drop a map at all through the qualifiers, right? At all. Not one. 3-0'd everything or 2-0'd whatever games they had
Was
to play.
that to be expected, though? Like, when the qualifiers start, did you guys think that they are actually such a force that this is a likely scenario, or did you expect them to, like, maybe struggle against some of the teams?
Yeah, I wanted to see, I was hoping to kind of see them drop a map here and there, not because they would lose, because they'd maybe make us feel like the field was a bit closer together here, but it was incredibly dominant performance from them from woe to go, essentially. So, and it's hard when a team doesn't lose because you can't read into some of their weaknesses sometimes because they don't show them.
I mean, at the same rate, though, is that because they're at the top so long, they're the team that everyone's looking up to, right? So they're the team that's getting analyzed in VOD review and picking apart what potentially can be wrong. Problem is, even with all this time this team's had, no one's been able to do it successfully against them.
Yeah, no one's really cracked the code. I mean, we kind of saw it. The most we've seen is almost last match when they actually went to King of the Hill and they actually stuttered a little bit. But all in all, Fnatic, they still have to feel positive, you know? You have a little bit of breathing room here. You can fall down to that loser side if you do lose this. And at the same time, if you get first seed, it's going to be very good going against Group 2, which is arguably the stronger overall group. It's just a matter of, can you pull it together? And this could be like a pivotal movement for Fnatic altogether. If you beat EnVyUs here, if you're the team that kind of dethrones them, you know you kind of set the pace for the rest of this tournament because you are the guys to beat at that point. But it's EnVyUs.
Can we play out the possibility that, say, EnVyUs do lose and qualify second? Whoever qualifies first out of Group B is like,
Oh, damn.
man, I'm getting punished for being a good team now because I have to play against them. It's going to be rough. But I still think EnVyUs is a team that you can't afford to make too many mistakes on, and I think Cool Matt and Custa in particular, from what we saw before, have made some mistakes. Yeah. Custa used Transcendence like out of nowhere. Cool Matt used a Graviton Surge when 3-4 people were dead. You can't afford to make that happen, especially with such key ultimates like that.
And the thing about playing Xayah is that if you mess up, everyone knows it. If that Graviton Surge goes...
That's not a subtle one to mess up, is it?
Yeah, if it takes a wrong turn in Albuquerque when you're letting that one go, you're going to be in trouble. Whereas if you're a McCree, you miss a shot, well, okay, fair enough. He's just a spam hero, some people call him. So we pick on him a little bit there as well, but we've seen a couple times he's gone for the Graviton Surge. It's often a panic button for Xayah players when they're under pressure, but if you waste that with no follow-up, you're probably going to lose the fight.
And it's probably one of the most, if not the most important ultimates in the game right now. I mean, if it's a pulse bomb from a Tracer, or it's, you know, maybe an ultimate from Zenyatta, it's kind of like, yeah, we wish we had that for the next fight. But a Zarya ult, that literally can turn everything.
It's the playmaker. Like, that's the one ultimate that unites all the other ultimates if used correctly. And yeah, if you miss it, it's unfortunate. Like, Cool Matt, he's a ridiculously good Zarya, don't get me wrong. And it's just a shame that we catch out those specific ones for him, because I'm sure everyone else has made mistakes like that. But you cannot afford to miss such a crucial ultimate for your team.
Well, EnVyUs going up against Fnatic. Let's see what both of those teams are bringing to the table as we're heading into the first match against each other. And that's going to be once more on King's Row. And for all the action, we're going to head over to our casters.
Welcome back to the caster's desk and the ESL Atlantic Showdown $100,000 tournament. We're about to jump into a winner's bracket match here. The winner of this one will be qualified directly into the playoffs bracket tomorrow. But definitely EnVyUs is looking to be the favorite in this matchup between Fnatic and EnVyUs. What do you think of the games generally?
This is looking to be probably the best game we've had today. Both of these teams have already played on stage. They've gotten used to everything. They've both played very well. Fnatic was able to beat Misfits, with many people thought Misfits were going to win that match for sure. But I think Fnatic looked very dominant. They played very well. And if there's a team that's going to be able to take down EnVyUs, I can't wait to see what's going to happen in this game.
The question is, can they keep this momentum going? Beating Misfits in the earlier phase of the tournament was an upset as far as I'm concerned. So can they ride this high, this momentum, and bring it on here on Dorado? This is a map that they actually played very well against Misfits on. So this also bodes well for Fnatic, I believe, as they have played this map today, Stir.
Yeah, their last point hold earlier on Misfits was phenomenal. They took the high ground every single time they needed it, but EnVyUs is a team that's going to be prepared for that. They even got to watch their match so that they know their Dorado strategy, and we're starting off here on a map where maybe they know something that they want to do with their strategy that Fnatic isn't ready for.
Yeah, and maybe EnVyUs actually had a chance to watch that game as well, so they do have a little bit of information ammunition in their back pocket. We'll see if that changes up anything on the lineup. We actually do have some fairly non-standard picks right now on EnVyUs. We'll see if that does end up sticking. Probably not, folks, unfortunately. But a good question is, where is Fnatic going to set up here on the first point of Dorado, we've seen teams holding further and further and further back. They used to hold up on the balcony and underneath the arches. Then they moved back to just under the arches as the meta shifts. And now people actually hold even further back. So let's see where Fnatic sets up here.
I think you're giving up a little bit too much room if you hold that far back. But definitely it's been a little bit of a futile attempt to hold the high ground and shoot down at the ground. Usually you don't get anything out of it. It's just, there's really usually no point to it, but we actually have a couple of players from EnVy going around the back, not quite spotted out yet. Everyone already rotating down to the low ground again. Quite futile to stand up there, not really getting too much done. A little bit of an ult charge for everybody.
And we do have Internet Hulk, who's usually playing on Winston or Zarya, actually going with a D.Va right now. We do see the NA teams tend to favor D.Va just a little bit more, and it's going to be a huge flank coming out from EnVyUs. They are all going up the stairs. Let's see how they engage here. They're going to push right on in onto that Reinhardt shield. They want to take the Reinhardt shield down as quickly as they can here. They have already begun to whittle it as the fight does engage.
Yeah, they were able to push them back so efficiently here with this defense matrix, getting enough cart push time on that they got it out from underneath the arches. Things are getting a little bit hectic right now, but the D.Va is keeping this very well under control. We have Cool Matt on the arch getting walked forward towards. D.Va is just able to control this fight so well right now. We're actually seeing Internet Hulk not on Winston as well.
Yeah, totally a non-standard kind of interaction there at the beginning as kills are now traded on both sides, but it does look like EnVyUs has gotten more kills than the other team, and they will be able to take advantage of this almost definitely with a couple man advantage. But Buds striking back, and we've seen this time and time again where Buds comes out of nowhere and gets a couple kills even when his team is down and out, and there is a defensive transcendence dropped as well. Stir, what are you seeing?
This is an absolute stalemate right now. We have a self-destruct ready for the D.Va, but this has been the longest fight I've ever seen. No one's really dying. We're seeing a couple trades here and there. The self-destruct is thrown down. Everybody has to hide behind Stoop, but they're ready for it. And this is just a non-stop fight where D.Va has been taking so much of the fight out.
Oh, D.Va taken out of her suit instantly, but Coco and Tailspin with 2 kills in a row. That should be another advantage here for EnVyUs. So, slowly but surely, with a lot of grit, they've been able to push through here.
Yeah, finally able to clean up the last couple of kills. Kind of an interesting push, really interesting to see that there. What do you think they could have done different as Fnatic there?
I don't know. I mean, you said it was a weird fight, and that's absolutely true. A lot of times you see one team come out very ahead of the other team, and then, you know, the fight is over. You try again if you're attacking and you don't make it. But that fight went on and on. But look at this flank. It's going to be Taimu and Chips making their way up onto the balcony. No, they will decide to back off, but nice high ground control here now for Fnatic.
Walking along the edge, actually. They're trying to be as sneaky as they possibly can. Taimu jumping around the corner on Buds does stun him, but he falls off, unable to secure the flank. But that's what they did in the first point as well. They're taking these flanking routes immediately to get ready to fight the next point. They don't let them hold the high ground at all. We have Tailspin up here on Genji as well, just cleaning everybody up and taking advantage of everyone.
All right, the Tailspin Genji is in effect, gets the first kill, and looks like Fnatic has been successfully pushed off that high ground, Stir, and they are relegated to just wait for the next spawn wave. They do have time, though, to get back and try to stop and contest for this next point.
It looks like if anybody comes out to try and stop this, they're just going to get mowed over for it. They're probably going to let this go. That flank from Taimu
here coming up top.
Oh, he actually tries to go for it. Kusta on the point.
Oh, and IDDQD is actually able to get a kill on Taimu, so the McCree battle has been won, and it does look like Fnatic is striking back here.
Yeah, absolutely, and we have Buds with an ultimate. Can surely see him coming in any second now, going to use it off. He doesn't have to. Even better, they can actually take this high ground back and try and hold it for a little bit here. I want to make sure you watch those flank routes because it looks like Taimu has been wanting to get up there and push people off.
Oh yeah, that's been the name of the game so far for EnVyUs, flanking in every engagement that we've seen on Dorado, and they've been able to push consistently forward so far, but they're not really pushing at a super fast rate. 3 minutes left on the clock. Couple of ults up now for EnVyUs. They do have an ultimate advantage, but Cool Matt jumps up. Cool Matt actually now switched on over to Winston with a really smart play. He sees that Tailspin is switched on over to Genji, and of course, Winston is Genji's pretty much enemy.
That is the switch that they needed there. They were also ready for them to come up from that side, that left side high ground. The second Winston jumped up, Buds was already in his face, putting some shots into him, and that push was thwarted because they seem to really be favoring this side over here. They come on the low ground now, Internet Hulk trying to grab their attention. A massive team fight taking place right now. Bud's looking for the giant ultimate. Nobody quite sees him behind right now, and he gets stunned right at the last second. Very crucial right there.
Oh, Buds was working on one of his flanks that we've already seen multiple of in this tournament, but EnVyUs will collect the second point. 4 minutes and 30 seconds left on the clock. They're not at a breakneck speed here. It's kind of middling at this point, but EnVyUs continues to move forward.
Yes, this is definitely a place where we can see teams get held up really well. The top right high ground, the bridge is extremely good, but we have Tailspin on Genji, and I think they're planning ahead. They want this character that can contest the high ground, push people off, and keep them honest.
Okay, it's going to be Winston on Winston. Taimu going to pop the ultimate, the Deadeye, but it's more of a zoning ultimate. Going to be pushing back Fnatic for the time being, and it looks like Stoop's Reinhardt shield is quite low here. He will have to wait for that to recharge. He's back in the action, but it is still low. Buds comes from behind, but he is once again stunned by Taimu, who seems to be Stir in the perfect position every time.
I think they know Buds has been so effective at tearing teams apart, jumping on them when you don't expect them, so he must just be saying to themselves, I don't expect a Reaper right now. I'm ready to stun him.
Oh, but that's a flurry of kills, and I don't even know if there's time left for Fnatic to try and stop this. They're going to have one last chance to delay any further. They've held for a decent amount of time here on Dorado, but here's the last chance. What's it going to be from Fnatic?
Buds on Tracer trying to hold the point right now. They get Graviton Surge into a corner, but Stoop is unable to go down. He finally gets taken out. We have Kustas trying to save the point again with this the healing from Zenyatta, and it might actually be enough. I'm not sure. There's a giant fight happening still right now, but it looks like EnVyUs has the player advantage at the moment.
Yes, Stir, support ultimates left, right, and center, as all four were used in that last engagement. No more support ultimates to anybody's name. Tailspin gets another kill, but Buds and IDDQD will respond, so they're still going to hold here.
Yeah, this has been a crazy fight at the end here, and I think it really came down to Bud switching to Tracer, able to actually get on the cart while there was a fight going on. He went all the way around the back. No one even saw him contesting it because they were too busy focusing on a Graviton Surge that was happening, and he definitely saved the point there for himself. It actually looks like he switched back now, teleported back to spawn to get back on that Reaper. That's so important here.
All right, like we just mentioned, so many support ultimates used in that last fight, so they will not be available in the next one. EnVyUs, though, on the verge of having 3 ultimates up to their name. It's Taimu going to open things up, and it's high noon on both sides as McCrees are going ham. Let's see,
I think
no
the
kills,
huge
though.
advantage here is actually we're going to be looking for Coco to hit another Graviton Surge quite soon, and that actually might be enough for EnVyUs to pull this out, but Internet Hulk has gone down, Stoop has gone down, teams are still even, but I think it's going to come down to the ultimate use here. We have a giant explosion, no one quite getting caught into it yet. Kusta's saving everybody on point, and Kusta's played a major role in saving this card as well.
And by the way, guys, Cool Matt, I got a chance to talk to them outside after their last match, and Cool Matt let me know that he was able to absorb multiple Zarya ultimates when he made the Diva switch in the very end, though. So he's probably looking to do that again. See if he can stop Coco, but they need to collapse onto the point. Here comes EnVyUs, they're actually all around, but Buds, once again, looking for the flank, coming up from above Stir, but still not able to make anything happen.
He's stopped every single time with that flashbang. He didn't quite have his ultimate. He's going to have that very soon, surely using it to defend the card here. He's not going to be able to do anything because Chips Hagen has that gigantic heal, and they just pushed everybody back. No one is contesting it. We have one person out here, IDQD, fighting for his life. Vantho comes in with the speed boost, and finally Buds is in here with a giant Death Blossom, but again, taken out immediately. They know to focus him. They know how hard Buds can carry for these guys.
There you go. Time is set, ladies and gentlemen, by Team EnVyUs, but Fnatic has to breathe a sigh of relief because that is a beatable time if you've ever seen one. 9 minutes on Dorado. Actually not fast at all.
Yeah, I don't know what to say. I think definitely Fnatic can come in here and really pull something together. They held them for quite a long time where it didn't even look like they should have in that the arch area just before the final point. They were able to stop their flanking maneuvers. They got used to what they were doing. Definitely still a winnable game for Fnatic.
In the game of Overwatch, slow and steady wins the race sometimes. We'll see if that'll be the case here as Fnatic takes their turn to attack now on Dorado. They'll be switching things up. And we'll have to see if we actually see any kind of hero swaps. You know, Dorado first point is a point where you can tend to see Roadhog occasionally. We did see CoolMatt69 come out with Roadhog in a previous match just a little while ago, but probably going to be sticking with the Zarya for the most part.
We're actually seeing Internet Hulk on Symmetra right now, which is a big change for him. I haven't seen a Symmetra actually do very well in a long time, so I'm very excited to see what Internet Hulk can do here on this character.
All right, everybody, we're shaking things up. It's no more 2 tanks, 2 support, and 2 DPS. We've actually got 3 supports now for EnVyUs, and I got a chance to watch this team scrimming earlier on yesterday, and Internet Hulk was playing Symmetra here on the first point of Dorado, so you're going to be seeing him spam orbs as much as he possibly can through this archway, making it so hard to make the way through there. Of course, that archway is fairly narrow, so Symmetra Stir will have opportunity to get a teleporter up if you're not careful.
She can be really monumentally important on this point because everyone wants to push through that choke, and if they do, they're going to get zapped by all the Symmetra turrets. It slows them down just enough that maybe you can find a person to pick and get that kill. And if you can hold even once, your last fight we saw a very slow fight. If a teleporter had come up there for either team, that could have been a real big game changer. We have things kicking off, nobody holding the high ground. They don't even want to contest it, just playing around the Symmetra and playing very cautiously. We have actually a Roadhog,
So this is an interesting tank lineup. No Reinhardt. Well, actually, wait, it's a 3-tank lineup here for Fnatic. So both teams playing super non-standard at this point in time, which I love to see that.
Yeah, if they can hold these tanks back long enough, the teleporter's going to get it, but I think that many tanks will just slowly kind of push them out, especially Roadhog grabbing the Symmetra is a very real possibility that they're going to have to worry about. You can see them all rotating around the high ground on this side, coming down the stairs, Coco repositioning with his Reinhardt shield. They have this Diva again, which has been so good at controlling these fights. I think a slow push from Fnatic here could actually win this fight.
And Buds, man, if he can get a single pick, a single Roadhog hook, will open this up for his team, and it is 1 tank versus 3. So with the Roadhog in tow, you can also take down the enemy's Reinhardt shield very quickly. What do you think of this?
There was a huge charge, Reinhardt and Reinhardt. Everyone has gotten split up. I think it started with that Stoop got pushed all the way back and everybody around him just sort of died. This is definitely a failed push for Fnatic. They're gonna have to come back again. Every time you fail a push here, that's a problem. Now they have a teleporter to worry about. It's just going to be harder this time.
All right, so actually Buds has switched on over to Tracer, and this might be to try and track down that Symmetra teleporter, which, is in play at this point in time. And I think that's very much what Buds is thinking here. But look at this, a nice placement, nice positioning there for Tailspin on the side to watch for that Tracer start.
Yeah, Taimu trying to slow everybody down. We actually do have Tailspin as the Reaper. Looked like he was just defending the side. We have a huge ult coming down. Custa trying to save everybody. Both Zenyatta ultimates charge.
Oh man, charging going left and right. Tailspin coming from behind. So Reaper made his flank, made his way all the way around to do a flank from all the way from behind. And this has been shut down for Fnatic. So they held for a good amount of time, Stir, but they are running out of time on this very first point. What do you think they should do to switch this up? Should we see Winston or something like that?
I'm always hugely in favor of, and I know a lot of people don't see it anymore, but it's possible to try and send a Winston over the back, or a Pharah actually, to go and hunt down this teleporter. We can see Internet Hulk is already back up at 85%, which means this teleporter was taken down. But he's going to have it again soon anyway. It's a constant threat in these fights. It looks like they're opting to come in the side doorway, trying this out for a change, seeing if they could find... They might even be thrown off guard, thinking that there still is a teleporter to worry about, not knowing it's put down yet.
You know, I gotta call out the positioning of EnVyUs. Even with 1 tank, they've just been able to protect themselves so well behind the geometry on this first phase of Dorado. So even though they're not a very beefy lineup at all, Internet Hulk with some BM. He's gonna go for the teabag. And that's perfect Internet Hulk right there.
I'm surprised they were able to win that fight. We actually had Stoop this time taking out the Reinhardt of Coco all the way to the backfield. It's just his team died without him, and this has been a really hard push for them. I definitely didn't expect Fnatic to have this much trouble on the first point.
Oh man, but what is the weakness? Oh, very nicely blocked by Coco. The Reinhardt ult is moot point for Stoop here. That's 3 kills though for Fnatic, the best chance that they've had yet.
Yeah, Taimu's still taking shots out here, slowly being walked back, team being healed up. There's nothing he can quite do about this. His team showing up to reinforce him, though. You can see that Reaper appearing out of the teleporter, and they're going to have a second chance where they definitely should have to be able to stop this. Able to kill IDQD right out from that health.
Oh, the teleporter is too strong. EnVyUs is holding. Buds will respond, but he is all by himself. Coolmat and Buds know this is their last chance. They may have done it, though. The teleporter is still up. It may not have many charges, though. It's only 2 people for Fnatic left on the point. Coolmat and Buds, they're fighting their hearts out. Harry Hook still alive. He has to get killed. Kill this Lucio. He's bouncing around. Taimu comes out of the door, but will they be able to get it? Yes, they do. Fnatic gets it in the last possible second.
Internet Hulk was just a little bit late there, but I don't think he had any team coming with them. You could see the power of Symmetra there when they actually got it to work. EnVyUs must be so confident. They know that against Fnatic, they can stop one push, they can stall this out, and they can get the teleporter to give them that much time. This is a time-based game for sure, and they definitely wasted a ton of it.
Yeah, they wasted a really long time on that first point. Looked grim for Fnatic for a second there. The teleporter was up not once, but twice. Internet Hulk was able to get the Symmetra teleporter in play, but now there's still plenty of time. I mean, there's still about 4 or 3 minutes, excuse me, left on the clock, and that's enough time to get through Dorado if you play well from here on out.
Yeah, we have Coco holding up on the high ground. We do have a whole bunch of fighting going on here already, but they're definitely not as good as EnVyUs was, taking everybody off the top. A whole bunch of ultimates comes down. Bud's taken out quite early, and they're definitely going to need him to win this push. I think already this early in the fight, I can say EnVyUs is definitely going to be able to hold them here just based on the positioning they had early on.
Yeah, they're pretty close to having a flurry of ultimates to their name. Fnatic as well will have a couple probably for this next fight. So Fnatic needs to calm down, regroup, and figure out what their next play is, because it needs to happen here and now. There's only a couple minutes for them left to make this happen, about 2.5 minutes left. And that means that they got to play flawless from here on out.
Yeah, we actually have Internet Hulk on Reaper again, another different character for him, holding up top, getting ready to drop down. He was hiding a little bit, but he has his team now, so he's a little bit more bold up on the high ground, trying to take down Stoop. And I think that Fnatic is just not good at dealing with this high ground right now. Taimu getting boosted in, able to get a kill, and IDQD taking down their DPS right at the beginning of this fight. Bud's is focused next, and they're firing at all the right targets, killing everybody in the right order, and making this look clinical.
Oh yeah, that was an utter decimation of Team Fnatic. Staying down on the payload. Down comes EnVyUs from above, able to get a flurry of kills. The only silver lining here is that they used 2 ultimates in that last engagement. And now if you do look at the Fnatic roster, they have 4 ultimates to their name, and not too far off from a Lucio ultimate as well. So this truly is their last chance.
Absolutely. The only advantage they have here is how many ultimates they have. If they can just pop them one after another, they should be able to win this fight. But they have Internet Hulk coming down behind them. The Zenyatta ult is forced relatively early. Stoop just swinging around, not sure what he's aiming for. Able to take down a couple of people, but it's still looking pretty even right here.
Bonneville, the Lucio's gonna get a double. IDQD will continue. So the dream is still alive, Fnatic fans. They're gonna get this next point with just barely enough time to make it through the final point if they push unfettered.
Yes.
1 stop is all EnVyUs needs. Will we see a May or something like that, or any kind of delay strategy? Certainly likely here.
Any type of stalling is going to be enough to beat Fnatic here, and EnVyUs has to know that. They're already trying to go back to their typical strategy, though, getting people up on the high ground, having Internet Hulk on that Reaper, and they're probably just going to have a good fight. They used so many ults to get here, and they couldn't win without that many. They're going to have a lot of trouble.
And here comes the zoning ultimate from both sides. It's going to be high noon, left, right, and center. And if Fnatic can't come out on top of this fight, they're going to be in a bad place, but they do! There is still a chance, sir.
Absolutely. Taimu is alone up on the high ground, finally falling back.
20
Fnatic
seconds.
is looking so strong right now, but this has to go perfectly for them to be able to meet this final time.
How do you
weren't
stop
even expecting
EnVyUs?
it to be this close in the first place. They're zoning them out perfectly, but everybody on
10
EnVyUs is grouping up, waiting for the absolute last moment to come out here. Tailspin on D.Va is going to be disabling so much of this. Internet Hulk wasting his Reaper, or really not getting too much, but it's all about time stall right now.
And what a valiant effort from Fnatic. They got so close, just a matter of meters in the end, but that is gonna do it as the time bank has expired. Stopwatch mode is a cruel mistress, and this time it looks like it's come out on top for Team EnVyUs. But what a fight put up by the Fnatic squad, man. It looked like they were down and out after that first point, but they struck back with a vengeance.
Absolutely. If I was Team Fnatic, I would feel pretty good after that fight, actually. It came really close, and it can be a little bit of a disappointing way to win by just a couple of seconds there, really. But to be able to put a very similar time on the clock, the same way EnVyUs did to you when they looked so strong in their own right, I'd be proud of it.
Hey man, going toe-to-toe with EnVyUs means that you are one of the best teams in the world, no questions asked. So Fnatic, with a great performance here, the first map though will go to the heavy favorites to win this whole tournament in Team EnVyUs.
However, that does allow Fnatic to choose the next map, which they have to be feeling really good about as well. When you come that close to beating them on Dorado, and Envy has always been quite good on Dorado, you get to pick the map.
Yeah.
You have to be confident about that.
Yeah, I wonder where they're gonna go, but let's leave that up to the analysis desk to wonder. Kicking it over to you guys.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, Envy really like put a beatable time at the clock in that first match. They played very steadily and won it in the end. Now looking at the second one, it got a lot closer than most people would have expected.
Two completely different defensive halves from both these teams. Fnatic get blown over on the first point on their defense, and they just sort of hold Envy right towards the end. And the opposite was true in this case. Envy almost had a full hold on the first point, and then Fnatic managed to actually get through the rest of the map comparatively comfortably.
I mean, that just shows what a great team Envy is, isn't it? Like, to be able to hold a team such as Fnatic on that first point for such a long time.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I know what your thoughts are. They're bringing the Symmetra back here, Jason, as well. We said this is pretty cocky. Like, that means Envy's expecting to win the first fight. And, yeah, yes, they are very good to hold them on the first point. But, Jason, we didn't see much from Envy at all the rest of the map, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, they had a good hold at the church area, but that was kind of it until the very end where they just stalled as long as they possibly could. I was really confused why Fnatic didn't challenge the high ground at all at church. They just kind of kept trying to push under the underpass, just keep trying. Eventually it'll work. Like, eventually it's going to work, right? But they lost so much time because of that. If you imagine that they took that point one push earlier, they would have had an extra 30, 40 seconds on the clock, and that very well could have been likely.
And we now got some of those McCree plays you guys have been so excited about.
Yeah,
Are you disappointed with how many McCree's plays we had, or was it enough for you guys? That's what I mean.
It's never enough for me.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
I don't care about McCree, personally. I don't find it that interesting. It's kind of boring, but all in all, DPS...
Wait, who do you care about then? Who do you care about?
I like more subtle things in life, like the supports and the tanks, cool stuff like
So
that.
you want more subtle things like a Winston bashing people's heads in?
That's super subtle. Love it.
Like a Reinhardt ult, something like that, a Zarya ult, good shield, you know, those small boops, those little moments, the finer things in life.
What about the good days when it was Mercy res every play of the game?
No, and no one wanted that.
That was subtle though, right? Just like gliding, take out 5 people.
This is so subtle. look at it. Looking actually at the team compositions, we had 3 tanks in that last game. They did switch the Roadhog out eventually. What were your thoughts on that? Did you think that could work?
I liked it, actually. I was saying during the game that a Reinhardt shield has 0 chance of surviving against a D.Va and a Roadhog just spamming you. Like, there's just no way. And once that shield's gone, you have no protection besides the environment around you to stop a hook from coming through. And if you can force the team into a position they're not comfortable with, then you can completely take advantage of that.
And it's a composition that puts a lot of emphasis and to that degree as well, a lot of pressure on your single offense hero. Because the idea of having those 3 tanks, especially someone with such a wide radius of threat as Roadhog, is that you are creating space for your offense hero to do damage, right? You are making it so you have a big front line, it's hard for their assassins or their DPS heroes to get in behind and deal with it. That means IDDQD, in this case for Fnatic, has to go absolutely bonkers. Didn't really, and we saw those tanks get picked off one after another without enough of a response from Fnatic, and we did eventually see a switch up back to Trace and McCree there.
Yeah, and now we have the next game coming up. Let's see if they can tie it up or not. Will EnVyUs stomp through this tournament as they have been doing it for, well, pretty much every other tournament so far they've been participating in? King's Row is the map we're going to head onto, and for that we once more going to switch over to our casters.
And not a big surprise to see King's Row coming out. Of course, for Fnatic, they played very well on King's Row too, and also didn't look quite as hot on the King of the Hill map, so I think that's a great pick. What do you think?
It's a risky pick. I would say that King's Row is one of the maps that every team is sort of familiar with. Envy definitely as well, as long with every other team, has a strategy and a plan for King's Row. Do you think that Fnatic's plan and play is going to be better than theirs here?
It's going to be really tough. I mean, I said it when we were doing analysis a little bit earlier on in the day. So much is riding on Buds' shoulders. I mean, we know, of course, that IDDQD is a monster on McCree, on Tracer. So Buds has to go toe-to-toe with someone like Tailspin, who's going to be playing Reaper most likely here on King's Row. And that's a really tough ask, although we did see him really carry his team with some epic flanks against Misfits. It didn't work quite as well against a team with the coordination and the communication of EnVyUs.
Absolutely. I mean, if they are able to beat Envy here on King's Row, that would be a huge ego boost for me.
Oh, yeah.
Again, because it is such a fair and familiar map between most of the teams in this game, and there's definitely a lot of cool strategy. We're going to see here again the McCree battle at the very start. Actually, it looks like currently we have Taimu on Widowmaker. Not sure if he's going to stay that way. Chipsagen might just be throwing out a sonar arrow in the beginning, as a lot of teams like to do, so you can scope out what your enemy team's running, which is why the offense has a pretty good advantage here to take the first point, because you can come very prepared.
Yeah, Yeah, I very much doubt that this is the final lineup for EnVyUs, but attacking here on King's Row, what do you think is the right strategy to break, the stalwart defense focused around that Reinhardt shield?
Again, like we just heard from the analyst desk, D.Va or Roadhog. Roadhog alone can make sure you win those Reinhardt fights every single time. As soon as you destroy that shield, you can start walking forward. Then you still have your Roadhog that can take a pick through the broken shield. I think that really opens up fights here, and this choke can rely very heavily on a Reinhardt.
All right, very, very standard stuff coming out of Fnatic. Non-standard now for Taimu. He's going to be starting. Quiet down a little bit. He's going to be starting on, it looks like probably just for the Sonic arrow. What will he switch to in the end? Does look like Taimu's actually going to Genji, the hit scan hero, playing with Genji. What? Okay then. Well, it looks like we are going back to lobby. Not sure exactly what's going on here, but sit tight as we do get right back into the game as quickly as we possibly can. Coming back with the beginning here of King's Row in just a moment.
Yeah, a little bit of issues, unfortunately, here at the Atlantic Showdown here in Gamescom. A lot leading up to this. The teams are definitely going to want to make sure everything's going pristine, very well for them. Also, if you haven't been following the brackets or any of the casting so far, we have live.playoverwatch.com, where you can follow every single thing about this tournament. It's a very clean website.
It is.
Check it out just to see the website.
It's very nice. You got the brackets, you got social media, you got the schedules. It's all right there, live.playoverwatch.com. We've also got lots of languages covering this. I think it's up to 8 different languages. We'll be covering at least the finals tomorrow.
Yeah, so if you have no idea what we're saying right now, that website will tell you where we're saying it other language.
Yep. All right, guys, so we'll be getting back into this game as shortly as we possibly can. We know you guys want to watch, and I want to watch just as bad as you do. So looks like we're loading right back into King's Row. No harm, no foul. We'll try that just one more time.
We did have some interesting things coming. We saw early on Taimu was throwing the sonar arrow into the movie theater, which I think is to watch out for buds. Make sure there's no Reaper hiding behind that can thwart their push, because I think as long as they know there's nothing showing up behind them unexpected, they can walk forward easily and win this fight.
Yep. We'll see if that does come out again or not. And we did see that Taimu switched on over to Genji, which is pretty strange. I mean, Taimu definitely known for his hit scan aim. Genji, of course, throws projectiles. So don't see him play a whole lot of Genji. We'll see if that actually does end up sticking. Probably not, but
yeah, we've talked a lot about how we feel like teams like Fnatic may have to do something to surprise EnVyUs and do a strategy that's a little bit different. But I think Envy has been one step ahead, and it seems like they have some insight on how to push this that's a little bit different than maybe Fnatic will even be expecting.
Yep. All right, so Fnatic going to take this opportunity to set up as best as they can, and we'll see how they end up doing that. Will anybody be on the high ground? You typically do tend to see things like McCree take the high ground and start wailing away as soon as folks do leave the door, but also teams do tend to stick pretty far back on the first point on quite a whole lot of the payload map, so where will they end up setting up? Looks like right on the point.
Yeah, absolutely. We have Taimu again, just scouting things out, seeing if things are any different than they were before. Vanathil taunting everybody at the front gate.
Vanathil saying, hey guys, how you doing?
Yeah,
what is up?
Back. I just want them to get out the gate. I want to see a battle here. I want to see Taimu honestly stay on Hanzo. I know deep down in my heart that will never happen, but definitely something I would love to see. We're going to definitely have this stoop battle out in the front with the Reinhardt shields. Actually, looks like Envy's just coming up to the front gate and standing here, not going through the movie theater or anything kind of unstandard, taking control around this statue right here, walking in right away. Very impressive. Coco moves in immediately and takes down Zenyatta. That's a huge pick, and they're going to be able to win just off of that alone.
Yeah, taking the Zenyatta out that early is absolutely so impactful. No Discord Orb just changes the entire tenor of the fight, and wow, that was an aggressive push by Coco. He was not holding back in that push.
They didn't hold back at all. That's what's crazy about it, is that Lucio just speed boosted them around the corner, and Reinhardt didn't even take a second to think. He said, I'm charging. I hope I get someone. You know, if he didn't get someone and just died for that, that could have been a huge blow to the team's push.
Absolutely.
But they took the gamble, and they weren't afraid to take that gamble even a little bit.
Look how aggressive they are. They're pushing so far forward. They're trying to catch Fnatic off guard, who's thinking, oh, of course they're not going to be here already, but a ton of, look at this, 90 charge built up for Internet Hulk's Zarya here, which is going to help a ton in the next team fight. They were looking for a pick, weren't quite able to get it, but able to build up some more charge, able to build up some more ultimate as well.
You can just look at Internet Hulk's charge. He has a 90% extent to ultimate as well. Cool Matt trailing quite a bit behind that, and just getting that Zarya ultimate before them can win them this fight as well, and they can push through streets so easily like we've seen in a couple of fights before. EnVy is coming out so strong here. Coco again, hits stupid in the corner, is getting focused down with that 100 charge, and there goes down the first Graviton. They're trying to take this tank out of the fight as early as they can, maybe not catching as many people as they want it, but still looking so incredibly strong in this fight.
Oh, that was kind of sad seeing Reinhardt just swing his hammer while he's stuck in the Graviton surge, but the momentum is real for EnVyUs. They're going to get a flurry of kills, but excuse me, Fnatic. That was a Zarya ultimate from Fnatic.
That was a Zarya ultimate to remember. We had Reaper having a little bit of a coffee in the shop. Didn't think people would come hunt him down, but you know, I guess getting the Zarya ultimate first isn't what won them the fight. The second Zarya ultimate was just a million times better. Only catching that Reinhardt in the initial Team EnVy push it was awful, really.
Yeah, I mean, that was and then Bud's even going for an additional consolation kill as they do concede the first point almost immediately. They're holding well on the second start.
Yeah, it looks like we have Reinhardt ultimate going down. A couple ults being wasted. Nothing really has happened quite yet. We have a McCree hiding behind, trying to get that high noon. And it looks like every ultimate was pretty much ineffectual. They had Lucio barrier defending everybody, but now it's just Coco standing on the point, trying to get as much time as they can. The speed boost in, outrageous, takes down every single player. The cleanup is unreal. Coco with his tail between his legs, walking back, and this is where Fnatic makes their stand.
Absolutely, in Overwatch, Stir is a team game. It was not just the ultimate from Buds, not just the Death Blossom, but it was the speed boost and the Zarya shield that allowed him to get 4 kills right in quick succession. And the Streets phase tends to be pretty hard to hold on, so kudos to Fnatic for holding this long.
Absolutely, it looks like they can hold this even longer. They have Cool Matt again with another Zarya ultimate. They're coming in, they're going around the side now actually, and I think they might even be looking for Internet Hulk to eat the Zarya ult with the Diva. No, it does catch everybody, and they are forced to pop the Zenyatta ult. The only advantage they had was the Zenyatta ult, and even if they don't win this fight, it's still going to be even enough that it's going to be stalled long enough. EnVy pushing forward so strong right now. Tailspin getting double kills, Taimu finishing off Vonethil, and that cleanup afterwards was just, it came from nowhere.
And this is a cap on the next point. Both teams stuck with just one ultimate, not even too close to anymore, so they're going to have to fight it out the good old-fashioned way as we do move on to the third and final portion here on King's Row. And again, Taimu poking very aggressively, looking to build more ultimate, looking to do a little bit more damage ahead of his team. Just that aggressive, that confident now as EnVyUs is working on what could end up being a very good time here.
Yeah, again, they walk forward so aggressively with Taimu standing behind Coco. He's actually able to get 2 kills with it. That's unreal. They did not need that to happen right now. Fnatic was looking so good in the streets, a scenario where you're usually not even able to hold, and now they're just falling apart underneath this pressure.
On this, they only have time to get back together as 6 once more. They barely have enough time to push in. Will it be a charge from Stoop? Stoop has to get into the action and shield his team, but his shield is already down to 1,000.
Tailspin behind, nobody really quite caught him out. Kusta has to pop the Zenyatta ultimate, shielding his whole team. So much healing coming from that, but the positioning is all wrong. They aren't even able to get over to the cart. Stoop right now just trying to stop Coco, pushes him off into the abyss.
The kills go the way of Fnatic. A nice boop there from Vonethil. Gonna be able to send somebody into their doom. Not quite sure who that was, guys, but Fnatic lives to see another, I wasn't gonna say day, but another minute here as they push this into the 5th minute, which this is a little bit better. They're still in danger zone though. This is still a ridiculously quick time that could potentially be set here by EnVyUs if Fnatic can't put up a really nice defense here.
EnVyUs has some strong pushing power too. They're gonna be sending in that Diva ultimate to explode. Into the back line, takes down 2 players. Again, the same players, I think, as last time, getting shot by that high noon. And we have Internet Hulk on this Diva just moving forward, nothing able to stop them. They had so many good ultimates there, and I was excited to see how they were going to put them together, but they just pulled off the perfect push at the end, and there you have it. A really good time set at 5 minutes and 20 seconds.
Yeah, 5 minutes and 21 seconds set by EnVyUs, and if you guys were watching that game closely, you did see, of course, that EnVyUs was stopped at several points throughout the map. So while it is a stupid fast time, Stoop and Co. Sorry, guys. We'll have a chance at beating that time as well, so not counted out just yet. But Fnatic fans are going to be watching this next game with anticipation and anxiety because they can't really be stopped more than 3 or 4 times.
We may see the same thing that we saw in Dorado, where Fnatic struggles at the first point. It looks like a lot of EnVy's hold was focused on doing a very strong first hold. But after that, if they can break this first point, I think they actually have an extremely good shot here at beating that time.
Yeah, let's see what comes out from Fnatic here as it is their turn to attack here on King's Row. And, ooh, Tailspin. Sticking with a hero that he's pretty well known for now. Of course, Tailspin was previously known as a Pharah monster. But this character, kind of similar to Pharah. It's a lot of projectiles, it's a lot of spam, and coming through those narrow archways could potentially end up working out with this pick of Junkrat.
I believe we actually saw the same thing earlier when they were defending this map against another team. Tailspin opted to go on that Junkrat as well, so this is definitely a strategy they've tried before. Tailspin, of course, previously a Tribes player, knows projectiles very well, considered by a lot of people to be just the absolute best at the projectile characters like Pharah, Junkrat. You don't see them too often, so I'm excited to see how he's able to do with this Junkrat, but more excited to see how Fnatic can just walk through and break this defense. It can be hard. If you give the Junkrat any advantage, he'll start building ult before you even get a push off. So they need to be just as aggressive as EnVyUs was.
And I have a feeling Fnatic is going to want to make this happen as quickly as possible, which can play into the hands of a Junkrat player, spamming away. Of course, if you're just pushing straight forward, you're going to get nailed by a couple of those bombs as they move forward now. And only one tank on defense as well. Pretty interesting stuff. They're opting for the more DPS here for Team EnVyUs on D.
Straight push them back. We have Genji holding it back. Bud's not on Reaper right now, just trying to create some chaos, and they've destroyed the Reinhardt shield. They should be able to focus down Coco and get this kill. It's going to be super important, but we have Tailspin from the back getting such good spam on everybody. Not really being dealt with. You need to make sure these DPS go down early. He's having a little bit of a hard time hitting Buds, but he's able to survive. Zarya shields him, and it still hasn't been killed. I am shocked that Buds has been running rampant this whole time. Finally bringing out the Dragon Blade, which we haven't even seen too much of today, just slaying everybody. Not as many as he could have gotten, unfortunately. He had so many opportunities, and this fight still unfolds.
Yeah, that was a nice little push there from Fnatic, but they haven't made it happen yet. They still have a lot more work to do. Buds was able to get the Dragon Blade in just 45 seconds, but he only got one kill from it. Harry Hook now coming from behind. Everyone's going to be clashing on the point, but Buds, IDD, Cool Matt will get to. Bonafil gets a 5th kill, and that is certainly going to be the first point. Captured in okay time, not as quickly as EnVyUs did.
That was one of the most bizarre fights I've seen all day. They actually chased them all throughout the entire building, came out the top. It was
Bring
like
around the Rosie.
Yeah, Ben and Jerry? No, that's ice cream. I think of ice cream before cartoons.
Tom and Jerry. Close enough.
Yeah, and again, they're holding them back as much as they can. Bud's as far forward as he possibly can be, trying to make sure they can get as much push on this as possible. People holding out behind. It looks like the ultimates actually, I would say, in favor of Fnatic. Maybe they're going to have...
Coco coming forward. He's going to drop the ultimate, go for a big charge. Coco knocking a couple of Fnatic down onto their backsides, and will follow up. So a nice defensive push there on the Streets phase, but of course we did see Fnatic get a couple of good wipes on Streets, so still in the fight, Fnatic is.
Yeah, I was going to say that the ultimates looked in favor of Fnatic, but I was so skittish on saying that because no one really had any ultimates. Now they have Gusta pushing in immediately, but the Chips agent drops his ultimate a little bit later. They're going to have that slight advantage here. Cool Matt stunned, pushed into a wall, able to save himself with his own shields, and Taimu's just trying to finish off as many people as he possibly can, putting some shots into the back of Cool Matt.
This is bad though. If Cool Matt gets taken out here, they're going to try to chase him a little bit, but will not overextend here. So EnVyUs going to fall back onto the point here, as Taimu is taking pot shots as best as he can, but Cool Matt already up to 100 charge as Zarya, and when Zarya is up to that much, she is basically a DPS character.
And Cool Matt is the key here. He has the Zarya ultimate. No Zarya on EnVyUs, actually. They're not even going to be able to counter it. Everybody put inside of it. Taken out by Buds a little bit. These trades are all over the place. I don't even know how Envy was able to come out of that on top.
Yeah, it does end up that Team EnVyUs gets the full wipe, and unfortunately for Cool Matt, he's wasted his Zarya ultimate to boot. So they've got to start again, and this is a pretty wonky lineup for Fnatic here. They've got both Genji and Tracer as both of their DPS. So I'm using air quotes here, no core DPS players here for Fnatic as they push forward. It's going to be mainly flanking that does the job, if they get the job done at all. Every push has been squashed.
It's
like
just
a bug.
absolutely squashed. Taimu's been playing such a huge part of these two, playing a little bit further back. No one's able to really get to him. And these lighter flanker characters like Tracer and Genji are just being stopped by the flashbang. He's doing everything that he needs to do on a McCree right now.
All right, and Buds does have the Dragon Blade up here, so this could be the opportunity that they needed, but I almost feel like they need to switch something up. They need to maybe go for a Reaper, as here everything is being engaged from both sides. Both support ultimates drop for EnVyUs, one support ultimate drop for Fnatic, as they now clash on the point. But again, once again, Taimu gets the first kill in the engagement, and usually it's going to tailspin out of control.
Yeah, no one can get by him right now, and just finishing up these cleanup kills, it's coming down to the fact that Buds is on Genji, and he's being stopped every single time. They're actually throwing out the GG right now, saying there's no way they're going to be able to make this time here on 4 minutes, 20 seconds. They have a minute to get all the way to the end. They know it's not going to happen, and that match definitely goes to the performance of Taimu.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is GG as Team EnVyUs takes the 2-0 victory in a hard-fought match. Fnatic played incredibly well, but it will be EnVyUs that qualifies directly into the playoffs tomorrow. Of course, that does mean that Fnatic relegated to the lower bracket of their group stage. Of course, they're not out of it yet, and they will fight on later today.
Fanatics can't even keep their bottles on their water. How are they going to be able to win these matches?
I mean, man, that Dorado game, though, was so entertaining, so close. Fnatic put up such a good fight. That said, a little bit more one-sided, especially towards the streets phase there on Kings Row. Such a great defense by EnVyUs. And what do you think was really the game changer that allowed them to hold so well on the streets phase?
I think maybe they were a little bit too aggressive at a certain point. Fnatic had used up their Zarya ultimate. They didn't have anything really to back it up with, and they lost that fight so catastrophically bad. When you have the whole enemy team in one spot, unable to move, and they beat you, you're not looking too good. They may have been a little bit more cautious moving into that, but they looked really strong. And for the future of Overwatch, Fnatic definitely going to be a strong team.
Absolutely, and the Taimu flanks were also the name of the game. Man, he got so many ultimates out, so many Deadeyes that actually got 1 or 2 or 3 kills, and you don't see that happening too often. I mean, he was coming from these odd angles. He was tucked away in the alley. He was tucked away on the side. Every time, Taimu really made it happen there for his team, I think.
Yeah, definitely. But to hear more about that, let's throw it over to our analyst desk, hear what they have to say. Let's check that out.
Can you read it? Oh, hey, everybody. We're here on the stage. I didn't know you were throwing at me, but that's just perfect because I'm here with Tailspin from EnVyUs, the winning team. And yeah, you guys down there, you want to give them a round of applause. We can give a special highlight here to Tailspin because you saw some amazing plays from this player. Now, Tailspin, a lot of the community has been dying to see your Pharah play. I know that's not the top pick for you right now, so can you explain a little bit why we're not seeing so much Pharah?
Basically comes down to Discord Orb. Discord Orb makes McCree, Soldier, Genji, everything viable to kill Pharah. So right now it's difficult to play Pharah just because Zen is in every composition.
Yeah, tough to play against when you're up in the air and you're alone with Pharah, but you've compensated by bringing out a wide variety of heroes for us to enjoy today. And that's pretty much what I want to ask you about right from the start. You are a team, yourself personally, Internet Hulk, your whole team switches heroes a lot more often than we see a lot of the other teams do. So talk to me a little bit about what communication is necessary when you're in spawn and you need to make a hero switch, and maybe you have some ult remaining, maybe you don't have any ult charged up. Tell me what you guys think.
It's always a difficult decision based on, many factors. If you have ult charge that you want to save or anything like that, or just switch to make your comp more solid. We kind of leave it up to an individual basis of each person kind of deciding the swaps for themselves, but at the same time, we all discuss it ahead of time, what we want to swap to and when. So, each person kind of makes their own decision, but it works out.
Well, let's see. Today alone, we saw you on Junkrat, we saw you on Tracer, we saw a little Reaper. So tell me, Tracer and Genji, they require one situation, Reaper requires another. What's the difference from your perspective?
All different heroes have different roles. A lot of the time, we can just have Taimu on McCree or just one other class, and we just kind of keep him on those 1 or 2 classes. So it's up to me to just kind of swap depending on what the team needs. If teams are running, heavy tanks, we're gonna need a Reaper. That's probably my job. King of the Hill will probably need a Tracer. So I just have to be really flexible and use whatever we need.
Well, Fnatic gave you guys a run for your money. What do you want to say to your opponents, and what are you thinking about the matches going forward?
Oh, I wish them all the best of luck. We had some good games. Half these guys were my old teammates, so, good games.
And what's it like playing against old teammates?
I'm glad we won.
I'm glad you guys won too. I'm glad for good games here at the Overwatch Atlantic Showdown. I'm going to give it back to our analyst desk.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Yeah, they won. It wasn't unexpected. They did do it in a very convincing manner as well. So let's talk about the games we just saw. The first one we already talked about, Dorado. That was rather one-sided, very straightforward from EnVyUs. Let's look at the second one right there. Any thoughts you guys are having?
Even more one-sided, I would say.
Well, that's a great way of putting it.
If Dorado was one-sided, this was even more so, I think. I think this one was a little bit more of a blowout than Dorado. So yeah, then Dorado, I feel. Two very different styles we got to see here as well. And I think it just took Fnatic a little bit too long to get that first point. At this level, you want to get the first point on the first push, ideally. We saw EnVyUs go through the hotel, and it made it work. This is what Misfits failed to do, by the way, in that first game of the day. Get in the hotel and come through the other side and split the enemy team up.
Yeah, and this was actually a clip I wanted to point out, if it's it's the one I was thinking of, where we do see the Transcendence come in out of Chip Cyan, but he used it too early and too aggressively, and because of that, Coolmat being very smart, just sits back, uses a Graviton Surge, catches the entire enemy team, and put a couple of extra minutes on the clock for EnVyUs. So it wasn't necessarily the best play out of Chips to get that aggressive, but because the initial take they did have, with Taimu getting a couple, Taimu getting a couple kills on Reaper, but taking that first point so quickly, they felt aggressive, they felt like they could pull it off, and it really did affect him in the end. But small little things like that can come back to haunt you if you're, I guess, against not necessarily a better team, but a team that can push you a little bit further.
Yeah, let's actually take a look at the bracket so we know where we're currently standing here in the Overwatch Atlantic Showdown. The first game we saw today was Misfits going up against the guys from Fnatic. 2-1 was the result, so Fnatic moved on into the winner final, and Team EnVyUs went up against Team Dignitas. 2-0 was the result of that, and that's the game we just saw. Fnatic, unfortunately, is now dropping down, but we will see them again. They're not out yet. And yeah, what are your final thoughts of the matches we saw so far?
Great job by EnVyUs. I think they'll come back tomorrow stronger, I would say. They have a lot of time to collect themselves. They don't really have to worry about, that decider match tomorrow. So they have a lot of time to practice, and I think tomorrow they're going to be even better, because today we saw a sloppy EnVyUs, but a still strong mechanical EnVyUs.
Yeah, I think along the same lines as Huck here. I still don't think there's any reason for anyone to not think EnVyUs is a favorite here. I think Fnatic really showed up in Dorado. It was like, it came down to those 10 seconds at the end, despite being held so long in the first point. I don't know if Fnatic are going to be better than Cloud9. We haven't seen them yet. We'll see them later. But so far, so good for Envy. Ticked all the boxes for me. Carrying their performance from online to offline.
I almost guarantee EnVyUs is going to take the rest of the day and watch the entirety of Group B squirm as they try to avoid going through second. You want to go through first because into the semifinals you'll play against the second team, the second seeded team from Group A as they come through tomorrow. So it's kind of like a fun night for them to see who's going to be their opponent, or potentially their opponent tomorrow.
Definitely. So we're going to find out all together. First, we're heading into a quick break, and then we're ready with the losers match. It's going to be Misfits going up against Team Dignitas. Stay tuned.